Start by identifying the downside before you're seduced by the upside. Being clear on the downside first gives you confidence to full-heartedly pursue and commit to unlock the upside. So one of my favorite books that I've read this past year was kind of more of a, I guess you'd call it a biography, maybe an autobiography. I really don't know the difference, but it was a book about a guy. And so this book is about Sam Zell. And if any of you have not heard of Sam Zell is one of the most successful real estate investors in America today. Sam Zell is a multi-billionaire in the real estate space. He started out in multifamily. He went into big commercial. He went into buying full businesses. And he owns one of the largest residential real estate portfolios in the United States. He owns some of the most marquee properties in the United States. And he started out as just a humble dude. I think it was up around Detroit or Chicago or somewhere up there. And this book goes through his story. It's called Am I Being Too Subtle? And one of the reasons I love this book is it's kind of like a book I read from Warren Buffett called Snowball, where it charts out Warren Buffett's life up to the point of the time that book was written. And it really starts from the time he was born all the way through all those life-defining moments. The struggles he had when he was a kid, the lessons he learned at a very young age, how he first got into business, what the first deals were. They even break down how they got their first deals or their biggest deals. They break down how they negotiated them. They break down how they actually weighed doing them or not. And this Trevor Truck doc, as I'm driving to the airport and my first plane flight business trip of the year since COVID began over a year ago, I'm thinking about this right here because I'm weighing something really big right now. One of the biggest things I've ever done at Carrot is something I'm going to be talking about tomorrow with a friend and colleague who owns another company. And I'm weighing the opportunity. Do I buy this company or not? It'd be the biggest purchase I've ever made. It'd be a bigger purchase than I would ever think about making. Multi-million dollar purchase, well over $10 million. I don't know how to do it. I don't know the steps. I don't know what do I don't know. What I do know is I have the right people around me to help coach me through it. And we're going to be weighing this opportunity tomorrow and diving into the details. So when I think about it, I think about a quote from this book from Sam Zell, where he talks about how he weighs opportunity. Because weighing opportunity, y'all, is one of the biggest things that's going to help attribute to your success or your failure. One of the biggest things I notice about myself or about other people as well that leads to failure, that leads to bankruptcy, it's not the opportunities you don't take, it's not the opportunities you do take, it's the opportunities you don't take. Because where people usually go wrong is not that they can't find a way to build wealth or make an income, it's that oftentimes they lose it. It's that they take an opportunity they should not have taken. They get nervous, and this is me, or they get nervous and is afraid to take a big opportunity that's actually a really good one because they don't know how to weigh it. They're not confident in weighing that opportunity, so the best opportunities pass you up. The best opportunities end up passing you up because they're like, shoot, I'm not sure if I know how to look at this. And so all you think about is the worst case scenario. So I'm going to read you this takeaway from the book, Am I Being Too Subtle? On how Sam Zell, one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the world and probably the most successful real estate investor in the United States, weighs opportunity. So weighing opportunity, life truth number, I think this is about 9 or so. Start by identifying the downside before you're seduced by the potential upside. Okay, so I'm going to start this again. This is the first part of this. Weighing opportunity. Start by identifying the downside before you're seduced by the upside. Okay, being clear on the downside gives you the confidence. Okay, being clear on the downside gives you the confidence to full-heartedly pursue and commit to unlock the upside. So let me read this again. Weighing opportunity. Start by identifying the downside before you're seduced by the upside. Being clear on the downside first gives you confidence to full-heartedly pursue and commit to unlock the upside. And so I'm going to walk through a few examples in this episode. This is Trevor Truck Talk, and if this is your first episode, I record every Thursday something coming from my heart, from my mind, something I'm thinking about, something that's helping me grow in life, a win, a loss, and this one happens to be while I'm driving up to Eugene, Oregon. And so weighing opportunity here, guys. One of the biggest mistakes that I've made in life, as far as taking opportunities that are not the right ones, and this is something I've seen time and time again, where, I'll see customers or I'll see people in the industry who are successful. Okay, they become successful, and what happens is 3, 5, 6, 7 years later, I end up talking to that person, or I end up meeting the person again, or I hear about them, and they've lost everything. They'd lost everything that they'd earned. They'd grown a great business. They'd grown a great reputation. And you talk 5, 6, 7 years later, and they're starting from scratch. They're struggling again. They're a beginner again. Their confidence is shot. They're trying to figure out, what do I do next, and how do I do it, and how do I get back to my previous level, and can I even get there? And before, when I knew them before, when they were highly successful, you had this confidence level that you're like, man, I just can't lose. I'm probably not going to be able to find a spot, or I'm not going to go back to the spot where I don't have this confidence anymore. And so what happens is an opportunity comes up. Okay, they're successful. Everything they touch turns to gold, right? And I'm saying this from my own story as well. You think you finally figured out how to make an income, and you think, man, the money that I'm making right now, I'm never going to make less than this ever again, because I've figured it out. And I remember having that conversation with my younger brother. This probably would have been in 2011 or so. And I was down in California visiting him at college, and I went from Vegas. I rented a car. I was there at an event. Drove down to California, Saracosa Community College, middle of the desert, and hung out with him for a day or two. And it was during a time when I was just figuring out this online business thing. I'd already owned some rental properties by then. And I had my very first month where I made $15,000. Okay. And so I looked at that and went, man, and that was a relatively new, well, no, let me reverse it. Okay. It was actually way before that. It wasn't 2012. This probably would have been 2010 maybe. And it wasn't the first month I'd made $15,000, because the first month I'd ever made $15,000 would have been in 2008. When I launched my first online company. We did $146,000 that first month and started cranking through some other stuff. But this month here would have been in 2010, maybe even 2008. I don't know. It was around then. Okay. But first month that I'd made $15,000 from affiliate marketing. Right, just straight up affiliate marketing, promoting other products that I believed in and thought were good. And it was coming in like clockwork. That 15 grand maybe took me 2 hours to make. Okay. It wasn't something that took me a ton of time to make, but it did take me a ton of experience to build up to learn how to make it. It took me years, a couple of years to figure out the process to learn how to make it. So it did take work. But I sat there on my computer, showing him and his roommate what my business had become at that point. I thought, man, I got this thing figured out. And I remember when I showed him that affiliate ledger, showing I'd made over $15,000 that month promoting one course with 4 emails. I'm like, man, I'm never going to not know how to do this. I'm never going to make less than this, because I've figured this thing out. And the problem that happened after that is I started to see everything as an opportunity, and I started to take those opportunities. What I did not do is I didn't look at the downside. I was fully seduced by the upside. I was fully seduced by, man, what can happen with this software business that I'm going to invest in? Man, look how big it could get. Okay, I was fully seduced by that real estate deal that ended up going south and lost me a bunch of money. I was fully seduced by starting this other side business outside of my main business, because I'd figured things out, right? No, I thought I did. And so what ended up happening was I made 3 or 4 key investments where I was fully seduced by the upside, and I didn't look at the downside. I didn't weigh the opportunity. Business number 1, Automize, a software company, my very first ever software company. Guys, I was fully seduced. I was going to become a multi-million-dollar business. What I did not look at on the downside was what happens if I take focus away from my primary business. I did. Automize failed. My primary business income went down by probably 40-50% over the course of that year, and I became miserable in work. Okay, that business gone, the investment gone. The next software company was Call Loop at that time, with the same dude, Chris Personslow, a great friend of mine. Call Loop, I had to step away from. I'm still an investor and part owner in the company. It's doing better than ever. It's 20-something employees, multi-million-dollar a year business, and we actually started another spin-off company from that one called Sales Message, which is the one that's growing the fastest. So that one ended up working out, but 4 or 5 years into that business, I thought I was going to lose all my money and all the time that I'd invested into that. Okay, but Chris was able to pivot that and figure it out because I went back to focus on my own business to get it going again. Okay, so Sam talks about some examples of being seduced by the upside and how he weighs opportunity. I'm going to walk you through how I weigh opportunity today. Okay, and this will help you in looking at real estate deals. It'll help you in looking at starting companies. It'll help you looking at doing whatever. And so when Sam Zell talks about weighing opportunity, he first looks at it and says, what's the worst that can happen here? Okay, what's the worst that can happen? And oftentimes when he looks at deals, he'll look at the assets, the actual hard assets that company owns, and he says, worst that can happen, if I can't execute the plan. So number one, let's be clear in the plan. What's the plan that we're going to execute here? And what's the likelihood that I'm going to be able to execute that plan? And we have something that we call the I.C.E. method, I.C.E. here at Carrot, that we weigh opportunity. We prioritize opportunity. The first, and it's an acronym, the I stands for impact. Okay, so what's the impact that this thing, this business opportunity, this feature in our product, buying this company that I'm looking at buying, what's the impact this company or this feature, this thing, or this real estate deal could have? Okay, number 2. What's my confidence level that I'm going to be able to achieve that impact? Like, is that impact going to be really hard to get? Am I going to have to invest heavily to get that? Is it a risk and a gamble, or is it a pretty sure bet? And then number 3 is effort. So there's the E. How much effort, and I would include money into that too, so how much time and money is it going to take in order to unlock that impact? So I.C.E., impact, confidence, effort. How much impact is this going to be able to make? What's my confidence level? I'm going to be able to make that. And how much effort is it going to take to get that thing? And before I had that process, I would look at things on the upside. Oh my gosh, this thing is going to make millions. And I would very rarely pull back and say, well, shoot, how confident am I that this thing's actually going to happen? And now when I look at it, I go, well, I'm 80% confident, meaning, you know what? I've got a plan that I feel really, really, really good that is going to happen. And the effort that it's going to take might be a good amount of effort, but it's effort that we have bandwidth for, and or it's money that we have available to invest, i.e., we know what to do and we have the people and money to do the thing. Okay, the timing's right, things like that. If I ever evaluate something and it sounds like an amazing opportunity, but it's a 50-50 coin flip, where I'm like, oh man, I don't know, it's a 50-50 coin flip whether this is actually going to be able to happen or not. It's a 50-50 coin flip because maybe I don't know how to execute all of it. So then there's the question mark of, well, who do I get to help me execute this thing that actually knows what to do, so I don't stumble over it? Or, man, it's going to take a huge financial investment, and geez, you know, I don't know if I want to risk that much in order for that reward. And here's one other thing that I look at whenever I weigh opportunities. I want an outsized result, an outsized upside for the investment I'm going to make. And so I was looking at making a real estate transaction. I posted on Instagram not too long ago, buying another building downtown, and I was seduced by the upside. I was seduced by the tax savings I was going to get. I was seduced by the potential cash flow that it could get. We're going to turn it into a bigger entrepreneur co-workspace here in Roseburg. I was seduced by owning more buildings downtown, and I did the ICE method on it, and I fully did 3 scenarios. I did 3 scenarios on this property. And I pulled back and I said, okay, what's my confidence level that the best case scenario is going to hit? And honestly, my confidence was less than 50%. And it hurt me to put that down because I wanted to do this deal, y'all. I wanted to get this darn deal done. The property was just, I could literally see the property from our office downtown that we already have. I could see that property. It's in an amazing spot. It's got huge upside and potential. It's beautiful, okay? And I'm looking at it going, I want to make this thing work. But my confidence level that the best case scenario was actually pretty low. It was under 50%. And here's the reason why. I didn't have a business partner to go in on it with that could be the operator for it. And I didn't have time to operate this thing. I didn't have time to go and do the renovation. I didn't have the team to go and do the renovation. I didn't have the time to run the entrepreneur workspace. I didn't have the current team to run the entrepreneur workspace. And I was looking at my current list of things at Carrot, and my current list of things at Family, and our charity work, and now coaching my boys' baseball team, and like all of the other things are way higher priority than starting another business, right? And I said, okay, well, how much effort of mine would it take to do this thing? And I started looking at it and said, man, it's actually going to take way too much of my own personal effort in this first year. And my personal effort needs to go somewhere else. It needs to go to my current business and making those things happen that I'm already behind on. And the opportunity that's actually way bigger. You know, the upside of this property really over the next 20 years maybe would have been $500,000 or $600,000, maybe $1 million. I don't know. And if I would have hit best case scenario, it probably would have brought in 15 to 20 grand max, and maybe would have netted, you know, let's say 10 grand a month, which is awesome, right? But it would have taken a huge lift to get there. And guys, I can add an extra $10,000 a month to my current life really fast with way less effort and way more confidence. Okay, so weighing opportunity. I'm going to wrap this episode right now. If you're weighing an opportunity right now to start a company, to buy a piece of property, to dive out of your job, to become a real estate agent, become a real estate investor, I want you to think about this quote, and I'm going to read it back, and then I'm going to tell you the ICE method again. Okay, weighing opportunity. Start by identifying the downside before you're seduced by the upside. Okay, being clear on the downside gives you the confidence to fully, wholeheartedly pursue and unlock the upside. Okay? I want you to have confidence in the opportunities that you take. I want you to have confidence you have a plan and resources to implement the plan to unlock the upside. I want you to be able to full-heartedly chase the opportunity when you commit to it, and also full-heartedly say this opportunity is not the right one, and be confident and not second-guess yourself that you did not take those opportunities. Alrighty guys, ICE method, weigh the impact. What impact can this make? Give yourself 3 scenarios: the best case scenario, the likely scenario, and the worst case scenario. What's my actual downside? Okay, the actual downside of that property was losing X amount of time, and the downside of that property was, what if I invest a couple $100,000 into renovation, I pay $800,000 for this thing, and for some reason it doesn't work, and I'm not able to sell it for what it's worth, and I lose $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. That was my downside. I could potentially lose a few $100,000, not likely, and I would probably lose 100 hours of my time. That's the worst case scenario. Best case scenario wasn't all that amazing in exchange for the effort that it would take to get there. So impact, confidence, and effort. Weigh the opportunity, y'all. If you like these episodes, these life truth episodes, let me know. Go to Instagram, find me Trevor.Mauch, that's M-A-U-C-H. It's where I share behind the scenes of my own business, my own life, doing deals like this. I shared this one on Instagram. I showed you the pictures. I showed the inside of it, the outside of it, talked about how I was weighing the opportunity. And I do the same thing at work, at home, things like that. So follow me over there. And then last, guys, we are pushing 300 5-star reviews in this podcast, which is insane. It's insane. I want you guys to treat that as your payment. If you're getting any value from the Carrot Cast, take 2 minutes and pay for it by giving a review and a rating that reflects the value you've been getting from this podcast. Okay, so that's your payment for this wisdom, payment for this advice. If you're loving it, go to Apple Podcasts, give a rating, review, and share it up. Take a screenshot of this episode wherever you're listening to this, on your cell phone, in your car. Take a screenshot of it, throw it up on Instagram, tag me to it, and every single month I'm going to pick a winner from those that screenshot these podcast episodes and tag me to them. I'm going to pick a winner, y'all, and give something cool away. Probably one of my favorite books, or my favorite book that month that I'm reading. I read 2 books a month usually. I'm going to pick a winner every single month for swag, favorite book. You get the idea. Only those people who take screenshots of these episodes, share them up with your friends, tell people about the Carrot Cast, are going to win. All right, guys, have an amazing rest of the week. We will talk soon.